to Inspired Coach Podcast and another inspirational interview that we have for you today. What a treat this guest is ahead. I am delighted to introduce you all to Sora Schilling. Sora is our guest on the podcast today. She is also one of the Beautiful You life coaching course trainers. And Sora is here today to share her inspirations and her wisdom about how you can work as a coach beyond one-on-one client work. So let me tell you a little bit more about Sora. Sora is a sacred space holder, a strategy alchemist, a transformative business coach, medicine woman, energy healer, international retreat leader, speaker, and world traveler. Sora works with sovereign spiritual people to incorporate the art of feeling sacred on their priestess and coaching path through earth-based practices. And she does this through her powerful, very powerful experiences inside of the Devoted Way Initiate experience, Devoted Energy Coaching School, of which she is the founder, and the Devoted Mastermind. Sora has an absolute passion for coaching and working with people one-on-one, but also well and truly beyond that into things such as groups, retreats, workshops, online experiences, in-person experiences, beyond just, in inverted commas, coaching one-on-one with a client. And this is an episode ahead that is for any of you on your coaching path who knows that you want to be doing more than one-on-one work with clients. There is something about groups and larger experiences beyond just two people at a time that are really calling you. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that you'd be working with hundreds or thousands of people at one time, although you never know. But even to work with groups of 5 people, 8 people, 20 people, there's something about that that is calling you deeper. And Sora is so skilled and experienced in this area, and she's here today in loving service to give it all up and let you know about the power of working as a coach beyond one-on-one and how you can build that for yourself. While I have you today before this exciting interview ahead, I also want to let you know something incredibly exciting that is happening here at Beautiful You right now. And that is that we have just opened up our February 2024 course for enrollments. And between now and this special launch time, particularly I'm going to remind you today about the date of August 31st. We have some very, very special bonuses that are on offer for any of you contemplating joining us. They include $500 off your enrollment, an amazing 3-month momentum builder after your 9-month course, meaning that you will have 12 full months of support, and a 24-month payment plan. 2 years to pay off your 9-month course, because we know that that is financially going to assist so many of you. We also, for the very first time, have some amazing fast-acting bonuses that are available until the end of this month, August 31st, Australian Eastern Standard Time. So they include all of the things that I've just mentioned, as well as a virtual group day with myself, Julie Parker, a masterclass on podcast pitching, and someone live in that class is going to get an opportunity to be on Inspired Coach podcast. How's that for some exposure? You're going to receive a private welcome, a private group welcome before the course even begins with myself. and a little bit of group coaching thrown in there too. And we're going to compile a VIP gift bag for you to receive in person at the Melbourne Inspiration Day in April 2024. Or if you can't be there, we will post that gift bag to you. So this is just, all of these bonuses are truly amazing. I think they're the most amazing ones that we have ever offered. We are incredibly excited about 2024 and the course ahead. And so if you are contemplating joining us, now is the perfect time to do that. Thank you so much, everyone. Feel free to reach out to us at info@beautifulyoucoachingacademy.com if you have any needs about enrolling. Otherwise, if you are just, again in inverted commas, here to listen to our wonderful Sora Schilling talk about beyond one-on-one coaching, that is here for you right now. Hello, Sora Schilling. I am so delighted to have you as our guest on Inspired Coach Podcast today.
Hello, Julie Parker. I too am super excited as well.
Okay, so this is obviously going to be really serious, and already we're laughing. And you know, for anybody that may be listening to this episode and is not aware, Sora is an incredible trainer with us here at the Beautiful You Coaching Academy. She is also, of course, in being that trainer, biker alumni. And she's a dear sister and friend of mine now for many, many years. And we have done many exciting things together. This is not the first time that I have interviewed Sora, and she has interviewed me many times. And so you are listening to and watching two people who are incredibly familiar and loving with each other. And so this really is just going to be a riff between two pals, which is nice. We are specifically here to talk about something that you have been an incredible teacher to me in my coaching career about, Sora, and that is the power as a coach of working with people beyond one-on-one. Because while all good, I think it's a big generalization, but I think all great coaching businesses likely have a foundation of one-on-one coaching, there is so much more that we can do as a coach with clients other than those things. And so let's begin there. We're going to talk about beyond one-on-one coaching, but do you agree that most, or if not all, great coaching businesses that go on to work with people beyond one-on-one are actually built on that foundation?
I do believe that wholeheartedly. I believe in anything that you do that you desire to excel at and come to a sense of confidence and mastery, that you begin at that early stage of exercising your muscle and practicing. And so that includes coaches where in the beginning, those one-on-one clients to me are the most impactful and memorable clients, because I remember my nerves, wondering if I'm right, I'm asking the correct correct question. How are they going to be impacted by this? What changes they are going to experience? And so to be able to exercise that muscle and apply the learnings and the teachings from something like Beautiful You Life Coaching Academy is so foundationally important to then going beyond that, because then, yes, there are many exciting things that could happen afterwards.
And that's what we're going to talk about today, those many, many exciting things. But yeah, you and I are really in agreement with that, Sora. And you are a fiercely loving and direct teacher and trainer. And I have both been on the receiving end of that love and teaching and training as a student of yours in certain circumstances. And I have sat side by side with you when I have seen you imparting your love and teaching and training to others. And one of the things that I have always deeply loved and respected you for in our academy is how much you genuinely and truly hold emerging life coaching trainees and life coaches to don't skip over the basics. Remain in that pocket of early stages. Use the script, use the guidance that you have been given. Don't go off road too soon. You have so much time to make it your own, but use the tools that you have been given to begin with to learn from those and expand your confidence. And I think that's one of your great gifts as a teacher and a trainer. But let's now talk about this exciting stuff. And so, when it came to beginning to expand your own one on one coaching, and you thought to yourself, I would like to start and move into a space where I'm impacting more people in groups and in ways beyond just one on one. How did that look for you? What did you do in those early stages to test the waters and move in that direction?
Absolutely. So, after working one on one with clients, one of the things that I noticed for myself was because I loved connecting with folks and having this opportunity to even make connections between folks. So, I like to talk to someone and be like, hey, you need to know this person and make those connections. So, it was natural for me to then consider offering some sort of group experience. And so the group experience I offered were virtual as well as in-person circles. And so that helped me not only bring forth my love for coaching, but it actually brought me this beautiful love and magic that I have for space holding and creating sacred experiences. And so what I love about going beyond one-on-one is this opportunity of noticing what are your other gifts, your other interests, your other passions, the other things that you want to learn or that you already brought in before your coaching career, and how do you create these incredible transformative experiences or events or groups that not only showcase you, but really honor you, honor the fullness of you so that your clients have one of the most epic experiences over and over again. So first it was circles.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Sora. And I just really want to encourage everyone to deeply listen to what Sora's mentioned there. And in fact, I want to take it a little bit further with you, if I can, Sora, about the importance of us all as space holders and service providers, whether that's to come in the future or you are one currently now, of basically doing work that lights you up. Not work that you see necessarily other people doing or is being marketed to you or you're being told that you need to do or you think you have to do because you've got a qualification in something else or anything like that, but actually finding something that just really lights you up. It's just so important, isn't it?
It really is. And I often wonder the thing that you say is not good enough, that comes easily to you, but why would anyone care, is usually the thing or the handful of things that sets you apart because it brings forth pure magic.
Yes, I would have a tendency to agree with that, but we can be so dismissive of things that come easily to us at times and think that it has to be harder, and sometimes it does not. Yeah, in fact, many times it does not. So let's talk more about those circles, Sora, and the expansion from there. So you began holding these beautiful sacred circles, but there has been a lot of sacred flowing water under many bridges since then, because you have expanded that in your work to now be somebody who is both currently holding space and also historically has held space for people in many, many different forms. And so, can you tell us about that and how your circles evolved?
Absolutely. So after holding monthly circles and in-person circles for a while, then what happened was I started to build an incredible community. And this incredible community were people that had already got to know each other or continued to get to know one another inside of things like a Facebook group or inside of a virtual circle. And so they started to ask if we can go on a journey together. And that's how birthed some group programs where I would coach individually, but also coach as a group, and they would have time to circle up together and commune. And so it became a thing based on, of course, me listening to my community and seeing what it was that they were asking for. And so then the group coaching program then ultimately moved into a mastermind where we also retreated together and we worked on not only their internal beliefs and their visions of what was possible, but after a couple of years, it ended up also being about business and strategy because that's the world that I had come from before. So again, bringing forth something that I had already been doing and now merging it together in this holistic way. And then that turned into training others in different ways, including circles and space holding. And so there's so many possibilities. And of course, many times throughout the past number of years, holding retreats and collaborations with dear divine friends and soul family members, including you, Julie.
Absolutely. We have held space for divine folks together on retreat in Australia and also in Glastonbury in the UK. We were going to be in Greece, but that unfortunately went pear-shaped with
And
COVID.
Hawaii.
And Hawaii, yes, both Hawaii and Greece for us didn't happen because of the pandemic, but you never know. But later in the year, we are going to be together again in Bali, which will be absolutely wonderful. And Bali is a very special place for us because it's where we first met. And
Yes.
so I am looking forward to that in so many different ways. And so let's talk about retreat for a moment. And then I want to circle back and talk about some practical things about the differences between holding space for people one-on-one and in groups, and some of your most amazing wisdom and guidance around that. But, I think that for some, not all, but for some coaches and space holders, it's quite the big dream that they have to run a retreat whereby people travel, they stay, you have immersive experiences, eat together, do wonderful things together. And they look often and sound often incredibly glamorous and and all of the things that go with that word. And they can be that, and they can be life-changing, soul-shifting, all of that sort of stuff. They are also, for the space holder, many, many other things that are not glamorous. Can you tell us about some of that?
Let's give you all the inside scoop, shall
Exactly.
we?
Because we're nothing if not real here,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Always from Beautiful You, where it's like, let's talk about the realness and the reality. So take us there, Sora, as somebody that has run many retreats, both nationally, where you are in the US, and internationally as well.
Yes, I've been hosting retreats for, probably a good 9 years now. And so, yes, there's a lot. And so, first and foremost, absolutely, it is beautiful and it is exciting and it is worthwhile. And a big and. The and is also there's a lot of preparation that happens in the beginning. There's a lot of research and logistics. And so for those that feel that they are lacking in the strength and the ability to create organizational spreadsheets or be able to keep up with the emails and the correspondence, then it's not to say you can't do it. It's just so that you know that you will need a little extra effort or some support and help in ensuring that all of those things are taken care of. There's a lot of things that you have to do, including the legal things and insurance. And those are kind of the downfalls in leading retreat because they aren't the fabulous things. They're the things that are very practical and also create the sacred space that's required. You also have to look and read contracts to ensure that you know what's happening with the retreat center. And there's money exchange that's involved, and usually a larger amount of money for things like deposits. And so that may feel a little overwhelming. At the same time, though, there are ways for you to move through these retreat plans with a lot of grace for sure. And part of that is ensuring that the other thing that is required is your consistency in creating and building a network of people that follow you, that are part of your community, that you can then invite them to a retreat. It's not going to be cold traffic, just random people that don't know you, because you're gathering together in person. And so therefore there is a slow buildup of people that know you, trust you, and desire to be in your space that must be cultivated ahead of time for you to then also be able to say yes to opening up spots and saying that you're going to hold a retreat.
That is such an incredibly potent, important, powerful point to make, Sora. Thank you. And I actually think that it is relevant not just for bigger ticket items like a retreat, which usually do run into thousands of dollars, but also it is relevant to any in-person events and group coaching programs, whether they be in person, online, or a combination of both. Nobody can expect to get a successful uptake of experiences like that if you've actually not done the community building, the email list building, the connection building prior. Yes, there's advertising. Yes, there's Facebook, Instagram ads. There's all those sorts of things. But you are so right. For people to step into these experiences, especially in-person ones, more often than not, that know and like and trust factor must be there in at least some basic form for that to be possible.
Yes. And those are the areas that don't seem as alluring or sexy because it's about consistency, right?
Yeah.
It's about the consistency of your messaging, of your newsletters, putting it out there regularly. Of In the beginning, I would have phone calls with my new community members just to get to know them. I wasn't selling. I just wanted to know who they were, what they were looking for. Could I be of service? So doing that market research, all of that doesn't feel as thrilling as having a post go viral or having a wait list of clients. But also you will not be able to get that wait list of clients unless you've cultivated a community so that that is easeful to fill.
Yeah, very, very important point to make. And one of the reasons why I love just digging into the realness of business and coaching here, because the last thing that anybody needs is to put something like that out there and it not be what they want it to be. And so often when I'm able to, or if I can look under the hood for anybody about that, it's often because those foundations weren't there to begin with. And that's not a mistake or a failing or anything like that. It's about timing and it's about consistently continuing to focus and build on that. Sora, what about when you're on retreat? Like you've got everyone there, because that's when people may think, oh, that's when the glamour comes. That's when the sexiness comes. And there's no doubt, otherwise we wouldn't do them. They can be extraordinarily fun, moving, incredible, amazing experiences for us as coaches and space holders. But there's also a lot of other stuff that goes down and can go down on retreat that is not like that either.
Yes. And the reason being is number one, you cannot control external forces. For example, flight delays or there being a storm or cancellation of a trip. So all those external forces are out of your control. So your ability to shift and change quickly and flexibly is required. The other is you can't control someone's internal emotional state or whatever it is that they're working through. And so on retreat, if you're holding a deep retreat, you most likely will have your folks go through certain experiences and emotions, and stories will come up. And so managing your relationship with them, their energy with others, including who's partnering up with one another. What's the sleeping situation? Is someone feeling comfortable? Someone is feeling like they are resistant to an exercise. All of these things are going to be part of your space holding ability to maneuver, because again, you can't control everyone being, quote, happy, nor would you want that to be, because that's not the realness of humans. And then the other factor is that for yourself, knowing that you can't control your energy level either, and whatever's coming up for you, and also your how much sleep you've gotten, or if you were able to eat beforehand. And so this is where it's not that that part is uncontrollable, but what is something that you can do is be able to be aware, so that you know what tools and strategies you can use to begin to bring yourself back to a grounded, equilibrium, harmony state to then serve those that are in front of you. So yeah, there's a lot of different things that are happening at once.
Absolutely. And this is where, and this is such an important part of the Beautiful You training, is how you learn and move through and hold space for yourself is incredibly important in every single session and interaction and series that you have with a client. And it is even more so when you are together with people potentially 24/7 on retreat. And you need to pay attention to so many things, such as that you might take for granted on a day-to-day basis, such as you mentioned your sleep, your own rest, looking after your energy, food, all that sort of stuff. And by the way, just as an addition with everyone, food on retreat, incredibly important.
It is very important. You're right.
Oh, it is so important. Make sure it's really good, and make sure there is more food than you think that you need, because everybody eats more food on retreat. This is very true. This is very, very true. Let me tell you something. If folks are well fed and they've got a comfortable bed to sleep in, you're halfway there. Very, very important. And Sora, the things that you mentioned there, these are also things that come into play in space holding in any sort of group, isn't it? Whether it be a sacred circle, whether it be an online group course experience, because sometimes there are things that happen, such as there might be a conflict of some kind that pops up, or something happens. Can you tell us a little bit about your thoughts about that? Because this is one of the things, so to speak, that is more likely to occur simply because you're gathering more people around you. And therefore, the likelihood of there being something like that occur, not that that necessarily means it's a bad thing, because sometimes those things happen and they're necessary for a group to evolve, but they can require and do require a greater level of confidence to hold.
Absolutely. And we are all human. And so we may not always all get along. And we have often not been taught emotional intelligence, how to have sacred conversations, how to address responsibly what is actually happening internally for ourselves, and express it and clear it with the person that we're feeling a little sometimes uneasy with, or uncomfortable, or some prickles around. And so whenever holding, whether it's a client one-on-one session and there's something a little off about the session, there's a little niggle, or if you're with a group or on retreat, this is where, to me, the best way that I know that I've set myself up success, to be honest, is actually the academy. To be able to have tools and practices to address and verbalize and recognize what is actually happening internally in me, and to be able to put words and verbiage to it, and then be responsible enough to authentically and truthfully be able to recognize it, then leads there to be an opening for the way in which you would hold space for others. And so I know that there's a lot of people that have the fear of, I would never want to do groups because what if? What if there's someone that's very challenging, or what if there's an argument that happens, or what if people don't like me? And so therefore having amazing trainers like Inside of Academy, who then showcases and shares with you what you can do and how you self-regulate, has been profoundly impactful in regards to space holding.
Hands up if you want to learn from Sora. I I know I do. I mean, as I said, I have been in spaces, and I know you have been with me too. We have swapped roles with one another throughout the entire now many years we have known each other. We have worked side by side. You have been my teacher and trainer. I have been your teacher and trainer. And it's been, profoundly beautiful to shift between those spaces, and the way that you explain, the depth of sacred responsibility and how that connects and is just the core of us all as space holders is truly beautiful. Sora, I'd love to now ask you just to share with us all, because your business is so wildly fascinating and it is wildly different to mine. You have an academy as well, and you do incredible things. Can you tell us more about all of the different touch points that you have at the moment? Because they are so relevant to emerging coaches, potential coaches in the future, and you work with space holders at all different touch points, particularly in this divine zone of groups. So tell us, where are things at for you at the moment in 2023?
I love that you said that my business is different. It's particular, and it is. It is vastly different than many that I see out there. And the reason being is I really look at a potential client's journey and what are the touch points that will help them not only have this very instant aha moment or transformation, but also slowly get to know me, because I am not necessarily for everyone. And also you may need a little bit more of Sora before you're ready to really jump in, because you're right. I'm pretty precise and pretty fierce when it comes to holding of my clients. And so I have a lot of access points that are free, or $5 or $37, that are there to help support folks that feel like they need a little bit of something. And then it moves into leading luminous circles and retreats, and how to hold circles and spaces specifically in person, because that is where we're heading again. Right? This new evolution of folks coming back together and moving through the insecurities around being in person, because we haven't done that for so long, but everyone is desperate and yearning for that heart to heart connection again. And then moving folks into becoming energy coaches. So after life coaching, what does it mean to dive into the energetic realm and also weave in your spirituality to be a priestess on this path? And so those are the ways that I serve. And yes, it has a particular flavor. And I hope that all emerging coaches continue to find their flavor, their devoted way, their way of accessing their individuality, so that they don't do it like anyone else.
Well, I couldn't think of a more beautiful and potent place for us to begin to wrap up. That's truly divine. Sora, thank you so much for being with us today and taking us on this journey of beyond one-on-one coaching. I love you. You're wonderful. You're
I love you.
fabulous. And just thank you. Thank you for everything that you bring to my life. Thank you for everything that you bring to this academy. I know that there are many of our trainees that you have taught. There are many of our coaches that have gone on to further their development with you in the Devoted Way and are now practicing as energy coaches, and the richness and deepness of that, your reputation precedes you. And we are so blessed to have you as part of our community.
Thank you so much, Juliet. I love you so much as well.
Everyone, if you would like to learn more about Sora and her incredible work, please go to the podcast section of our website. And I do just want to highlight something that Sora mentioned before, and that is that she has truly so many different touch points that you can engage with her that are free and very low cost, no matter where you may be on your coaching trajectory and learning experience. In particular, if you are someone that already knows yourself and has seen a spark within you here in this conversation with Sora, that you think your future coaching business or your coaching business now is one where you want to work with people beyond one-on-one, you've found your teacher.